I need you to look at this. The reflection wasn't mimicking me. It was watching me. And then it smiled. Let me tell you how I got there. My name is Daniel Mercer. I'm 43 years old. I'm a father. And at the time this happened, I had $11 in my checking account, 3 months of unpaid rent, and a 7-year-old daughter named Lily waiting for me in an apartment that was going to be taken on Friday. I spent 12 years in private corporate security, high-risk assignments, overnight posts, empty buildings at 3 a.m. I knew how to handle pressure. I knew how to handle darkness. I knew how to handle silence. What I didn't know how to handle was being broke in Detroit in the middle of February with a little girl who needed a home. When the job listing appeared, temporary night watchman, 7 days, Eastgate Mall, I almost didn't read it to the end. Eastgate had been abandoned since 2019. A hollowed-out concrete shell on the east side of the city, half the roof panels missing, wind off Lake Erie cutting through the walls like it had a grudge. Nobody went there. Nobody had any reason to. Until I saw the number. $15,000. 1 week. The posting said a heritage recovery company was processing the legal transfer of a valuable item still inside the building. They needed a licensed security professional on site during the paperwork period. That was it. That was the whole job. I called within 20 minutes. The contractor who answered barely spoke. He confirmed the pay, confirmed the schedule, and told me the item in question was a Victorian mirror recovered from a demolished theater. Built in 1947, significant historical and monetary value. He told me someone would meet me at the entrance at 10 p.m. No one met me. There was just an envelope taped to the front door, and a key. I walked in alone. Eastgate smelled like mold, standing water, and something else I couldn't name. Something older. The kind of smell that doesn't come from decay. It comes from time. The escalators were frozen mid-motion. Dead storefronts stretched in both directions, their security gates half down like eyelids that couldn't close all the way. My flashlight carved a narrow path through the dark. Room 4B was on the second floor, end of the east corridor. The mirror was there. Victorian frame carved from dark walnut, flowers and skulls alternating along the border, which felt like a design choice someone should have questioned. The glass was original, slightly yellowed with age, with that particular warped quality that old mirrors have, where the reflection bends just slightly at the edges. I stepped into the room. The mirror reflected me, and I stopped. Because my reflection, just for a fraction of a second, just for the space between one heartbeat and the next, arrived a moment after I did. Like it had been somewhere else and had to come back. I stood there for a long time, staring at myself, staring back at me. Then I opened the envelope. Inside, one sheet of paper, typed on an old mechanical typewriter, the ink slightly uneven, like the keys had been struck with different amounts of pressure. 5 rules. No header, no signature. Rule 1. Keep the radio tuned to frequency 94.1 at all times. White static. Do not change the station. Rule 2. At 3:14 a.m., cover the mirror with the black cloth folded on the chair. Leave it covered for exactly 10 minutes. Not 9, not 11, 10. Rule 3. If you hear someone calling your name from inside the mirror, respond only with, "The shift isn't over yet." Rule 4. Never aim flashlights or direct light at the glass. Light attracts what is on the other side. Rule 5. If your reflection smiles and you are not smiling, leave the room. Do not run. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it, put it back in the envelope, and sat down in the folding chair facing the mirror, with my bag on my lap and the radio crackling with white static on the floor beside me. I thought about Lily. Her drawings stuck to the refrigerator with tape because we couldn't afford magnets. The way she slept with her arm over her eyes. How she'd started saying, "It's okay, Daddy." The first 2 days were cold, long, and completely uneventful. The static on 94.1 was oddly comforting after a while. Like white noise, like rain on a window. I covered the mirror at 3:14 each night, counted exactly 10 minutes on my watch, uncovered it. My reflection was always there, waiting, normal, tired looking, a little pale from the cold. I started to relax. That was my first mistake. On the third night, at 2:47 a.m., the radio stopped. Not with static, not with a pop or a crackle. It simply went quiet, mid-hiss, like someone reaching over and pressing mute. And then it started playing a song, a lullaby. I knew that song. My mother used to sing it to me when I was sick as a child, lying in the dark with a fever. My mother died 4 years ago. Heart attack. Fast. I didn't get to say goodbye. I sat completely still, listening, and then the voice came. Muffled. Distant. Like someone speaking from the bottom of a well, or from behind a wall of water. Danny. The name she called me. Only her. Never anyone else. Danny, it's so cold in here. I was standing before I realized I'd gotten up, moving toward the mirror. My reflection moved with me, in time, perfectly synchronized, which somehow felt worse than when it had been delayed. Danny, I can see you. I can see the light. My hand found the tactical flashlight on my belt. I knew the rule. I had read it 4 times. I had thought about it every night since I arrived. I understood, in the way you understand things in the abstract, that there was a reason for that rule. A real reason. Not superstition. Not paranoia. A reason someone had learned the hard way. But the voice was hers. I raised the flashlight. I pointed it at the glass. I pressed the button. The beam hit the mirror. And Daniel Mercer was gone. What stood in my place, in the exact position where my reflection should have been, wearing my clothes, my shape, my proportions, was something that had never been human. The face was almost right. That was the worst part. Not that it was monstrous, that it was almost me. Almost correct. The eyes were white. No iris, no pupil, just flat white. But they found mine immediately, with the precision of something that had been waiting for exactly this moment. The mouth was wrong. It was open, too open, stretched at the corners in a smile that went far beyond what a human face should be able to produce, pulled back toward the ears, like something had taken hold of the skin on both sides and simply kept pulling until it couldn't go further. And it was pressed against the glass, hands flat on the inside of the mirror, fingers too long, palms too wide, the glass bowing inward around them, not cracking outward, but caving inward. And then I heard it. Tick, tick, tick. Its teeth against the glass, from the inside, methodical, patient. The sound of something that understood that glass eventually breaks, and was willing to wait. I stumbled backward, hit the folding chair, went down hard on one knee. The black cloth was on the floor to my left. My watch said 3:13 a.m. I had 60 seconds. I grabbed the cloth. I don't remember crossing the room. I don't remember deciding to move. One moment I was on the floor, The next, I was at the mirror, throwing the cloth up and over with both hands, pressing it flat against the frame at the top and pulling it down. The ticking stopped the moment the cloth touched the glass. Then I sat back down in the chair, turned the radio back on. 94.1. Static. White noise. Rain on a window. I watched the cloth until sunrise.
I finished the 7 days. I received the $15,000 wired to my account on a Sunday morning, while Lily was eating cereal and watching cartoons. I paid the back rent. I bought groceries. I fixed the heater that had been broken since November. My daughter kept her home, but I removed every mirror from my apartment the same week I got back. I covered the bathroom with matte contact paper. I don't own anything with a reflective surface. I sit with my back to restaurant windows. I don't look at the black screens of electronics when they're turned off. Because 3 weeks after Eastgate, I was walking past a closed clothing store on Woodward Avenue. Night. Street lights. My breath fogging in the cold. I caught my reflection in the darkened window. I was walking. My reflection was standing still, watching me move away from it. With that smile, that wide,